Well, when the weather is this good, there's one place to be. If you're not at Sydney Olympic Park, you want to be at the beaches. Sydney's got some of the best. Bronte, Bondi, Coogee. Doesn't matter which one you get to, it is just special this time of year. Plenty of surf, snorkeling's fine, and I am definitely going to be getting down there at some point this weekend. Coates Hire, Sydney 500, we're out at Sydney Olympic Park, and this is the second of the 3 races for the V8 Utes. It's all thanks to East Coast Bull Bars. Last round of the championship, Paul Morris joining me. Can you believe it? Jared McLeod on pole again. He's just owning this reverse grid pill draw.
Well, he's good at the numbers. He should be out playing bingo or doing something because he'd be raking in the cash.
Unbelievable. He finished 9th. It's completely random, the draw for the grid. And once again, he's got pole.
Yeah.
Adam Marjoram, so unlucky. He just can never get on the right side of that pill draw. He'll start alongside his teammate in row 6. The championship absolutely on here. We'll focus on that throughout as well. And some big guys to watch out for, including Beachy and Armin at the back here. So we're going to roll them off. Heat is picking up. You can see it. Track temperature around 40 degrees. Very warm day here now at Sydney Olympic Park. Much warmer than yesterday. Now, Ryle Harris, he took pole position, but then second of the championship on the first race, so it closed that gap back up again. It's still 80 points. But, I mean, realistically, Paul, if he can just get through this one, stay out of drama, he could just about wrap it up in this race because there's 70 points up for grabs in the final race.
70 in the final race. So this one's really important. But again, anything could happen. Anything could happen. And Mediki's been really fast. He's shown the speed. So all he can do is just lay on the gas and try and be as aggressive as he can. And Ryle's just got to play the conservative role here in this race.
Is he going to do enough to win it here? That's the question. It's going to be tight. And to be honest, it's reverse grid, and you really just don't know what's going to happen over the next 9 laps, especially when you start out of P7. So Ryle will be a very nervous man right now. He has got George Medicki behind him. So I guess the equation's fairly simple. If he just finishes in front of Slick, that's the championship pretty much done.
He'll be aiming to do that. And Medicki's probably the only guy behind him that's got the speed. The inversion was 9, as we spoke about, so the top 9 cars from this morning's race have been flipped. All those guys are pretty fast, but Medicki, Hansford especially, and Medicki had a little bit of pace over the field this morning, so it'll be interesting to see if they can fight their way through the field.
The Fords seem to have something up their sleeve this weekend. He's the man who missed the invert by 1 spot. Andrew Fisher, very unlucky. Mainline dyno on board with him. So he gives it plenty to try and get some heat going. So the Fords have had a bit up their sleeve. They seem to be the faster outfit here this weekend, which is great because the front 5 cars in the grid are all Holdens. So it's a real reverse grid race. We've got all the slower cars ahead of the faster cars. But we've seen McLeod really do well in these reverse grid races. He converted the first one up in Darwin. Lee Nicolau from Penrite on board, involved in that crash. They've done a great job fixing that car in a couple of hours to get him ready.
Yeah, they had a good whack, didn't it? So
done very well there.
Obviously got plenty of spares.
And nice work by the Shamrock Transport team to get him back out. But Nathan Pretty's probably one guy that's gone a little bit under the radar out of all this. And it's been a bit of a forlorn year for Nate. Hasn't been really raking in the kind of stats that we would expected. Yeah, you said it, not me. What's it like racing past the tender age of 40? Do you slow down a bit?
Oh, you definitely do. You don't have the qualifying pace and you don't take as many risks. So endurance racing is probably more your bet.
He has been on the podium twice this year. We've had 9, actually make that 10 today, different race winners in the championship, with George Medicki adding his name to that list a little bit earlier. There's Dontas just working his way through on the K&N on board.
Yeah, trying to get a bit of front temp in the tyres, making sure they're cleaned off.
Maybe he's a dark horse out of this one, Paul, outside row 2.
Oh, any of these guys can take this thing out. We saw Hansford having his best run of the season this morning. We know if Jared McLeod can get some clean air on the nose, he likes to tuck the ears back and press on and drive away from it.
Working their way onto the front. Jared's opened up a bit of a gap over Nathan Pretty, so he's going to be sitting there for a good 90 seconds before this race even gets going.
He's probably had a bit of build up on his tyres. He just wanted to blow it off.
Jack Link's Beef Snacks. He's got a new jerky company that's come on as a sponsor for this week. He's pretty good at putting a few stickers on that thing this year, and that's a new one.
Well, it's part of the game. If you want to drive a car, you need plenty of money, so you better be savvy commercially.
He's worked exceptionally hard.
Yeah, he's always working a deal, and a good guy to get on board with too. Gives his sponsors plenty of exposure and good bang for their bucks.
What a great spot to watch with the cold Coopers in your hand, overlooking pit lane. That's going to be busy later.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, that beer, doesn't it?
Not a bad day for it, Paul. Beautiful warm weather out there. And there is the front row.
Oh, he's given up a bit, so I wouldn't be leaving that much space between the number one.
The calm before the storm. The reverse grid race at Surfers Paradise was something else. They were all sat down in front of the school principal and yelled at for misbehaving. Is this the race where Raul Harris wraps up the championship? He wants to become the only man to have ever won this championship 3 times. Reverse grid race, East Coast Bull Bars, V8 Utes go, and again, McLeod gets a ripper start.
It's a bolter.
Oh, that's tight between Walton and Hansford.
Hansford's going to go on with it, make it pretty wide down here at one. Pretty's having a look too. Throws it down the inside of McLeod, he'll get it done.
Wow, brave move. Nathan Pretty goes to the point at the first corner. Jeremy Gray has to take evasive action. Andrew Fisher just clipped the rev limiter there.
Yeah, cost him a truck length.
Oh, McLeod's going to lose another spot here to Dontis. He'll have to yield at the 200-metre marker, and he does. The rule is you can't go too wide down there. You've got to sort it out before you get there.
It's a good rule. You can't fit 2 utes through there.
Harris, importantly, is ahead of Mediki. So the championship is on here. And Marjoram side by side with Cam Wilson. That's tight work. Wilson was actually stuck on 50% throttle early this weekend, as well as putting the thing in the fence. So it's not been a great weekend for the Queenslander as we bounce through the chicane. Oh.
Deaky's fallen right back behind Kim Jane.
So it's not the reverse grid race that the race 1 winner was hoping for so far. Clean first lap at least to the top of Dawn Fraser Ave as Marjoram goes sideways. And it's Jeremy Gray who gets the good exit.
Yeah, he gets an overlap on Cam Wilson. Could be tears down here between those guys. Let's see what happens.
Oh, McLeod helping Dontis through the tight and twisty stuff. Bangs third gear. How did that all sort out in the background? Marjoram held on. Mediki still 2 spots behind the series leader,
Yeah,
and
Gray
Peter
got
Burnett
Wilson.
up the inside of Michael. But that's a close one. And gets it done. That's actually Hodges, I should say, a Sydney sider, who had a great first race. There's Armand in the 44.
Pretty's loves the air on the nose. He's pulling away here.
Great first lap, Nathan Pretty. McLeod a bit disappointed that he couldn't convert.
You just can't leave the door open like that for someone like Nathan. There's a lot of racetrack down there, and Nathan just picked the bit he wanted and took it away from Jared. Once he was up the inside of him, McLeod couldn't turn in, and the job was done.
This is one of the few street circuits that Nathan Pretty is yet to claim a win at. He's usually dynamite around places like this. He loves running on curbs and concrete. Walton, first of the Utes, the outgoing champion. Debuted in 2012, was the Rookie of the Year, took a win in only his 2nd ever race at Sandown. Took the championship last year and fought hard all season long, but really Harris has had his measure. Has led the championship the whole way to Sydney. And what a great exit for Walton. Yes. Moves to the inside of Cedars.
There's an overlap there. You just have to run it in there under brakes. Easy peasy, no problem at all.
Should get it done. That's a long way around there for Cedars.
Just got to run him wide there so he can't get back up the inside here, which he does.
Fair play. And that was the change for 5th. Around the train station, Hansford now. Fancies to go at the Mango Credit Ute. Cedars, his first year running in a Holden. It's fairly successful. He's had a treble of wins. And looks to be on for another top 5 finish in the championship once again.
So Ryle's in a bit of a sandwich here. Does he press on and try and get a few spots, or just roll this thing home and bank the points? I think he's got to go on with it because Kim Jane's behind him. Kim will want to press on.
Oh, that could be the championship done. It's just about over now. Oh, man, he has had no luck this year. Shades of what happened to him at Townsville. The thing has just come to a halt. And that means that the blue West End Mazda Tickets and Tours ute going right alongside Allphones Arena is just about a certainty for the championship now.
Let's see what he can do here. They're on the radio, they're letting Royal know that that's happened.
Gee, bad news for Matt Stone Racing, still fighting for a team's championship on top of the Drivers' Championship. Unlike Pro Drive, so high drama here in Sydney. Big championship ramifications. So far, it's looking very good from Royal Harris. Out front looking strong. Dontis trying to range onto the back of him. He's just a second off the pace.
Cedars with the fuel cap open there. He might be looking for a top-up.
Walton with a lot of car speed.
Yeah, will he throw it on in there? No.
Well, that would have been from a long way back.
He definitely, as you said, he's got a little bit more car speed. The Commodores seem to be just not quite on the pace of the Fords this weekend. And it's in this part of the track where the Falcon just carries a little bit more speed.
Kim Jane in his 350th race in the V8 Utes.
Yeah, Ryle's got a run here, around the outside.
That's a fantastic move. Just did him for speed.
See what Fisher does here.
Oh,
He'll
Jane,
run him in deep.
Up the inside, there might be contact. Close quarter stuff. The man leading the championship can't really afford.
No, he can't get into a fist fight here. He's got to walk away from it. But if he wraps it up this weekend, he'll remember all this stuff and he'll be giving it back in race 3.
It's tight down at turn 2. He falls back in behind him and he'll have Mardrum to deal with. Jeremy Gray going with him. Right on the back.
So let's see how aggressive Mardrum gets. He's probably owes Ryle 1 or 2 from out the year.
Now, you picked this before qualifying, didn't you? You said that he's maybe harbouring some bad thoughts from Darwin in particular.
Yeah, Darwin, he was hard done by, and a couple other times of the year, Ryle's been a bit aggressive and gotten away with it. And you just got to put that stuff, don't retaliate straight away. You just put it in the back of your memory, and sometimes an opportunity presents itself where you can think you can get away with it, not get sprung, and you just let them have it.
That's racecraft.
Yeah, it's a lot better than having a DSO. It's a lot better than the drivers just sorted out.
You are a speedway boy.
I think it's a lot better, mate. We used to go racing all the time without anyone telling us how to do it. People loved it. It just gets over-regulated these days.
I think a lot of people would agree with you. Meanwhile, here's Fisher. He's got Jane in behind him. Gee, some experience in this pack. Royal Harris, like we said earlier, on the verge of that championship. It'll be his third. Tell you what, there's been some talented guys to win it twice. Damien White, Warren Luff, Grant Johnson. Is he about to become the first ever 3-time winner?
I reckon he is.
Looking good so far.
Mazzari.
He's right where he needs to be, Paul.
Yeah, unless he has complete disaster, which he shouldn't. He's driving exactly how he needs to.
Jeremy Gray getting some fresh air at the inside. The complex of chicanes. No chance to make a move there. Dontis just set the fastest first sector of the race, trying to catch Nathan Pretty, but Pretty putting in some big lap times. Nothing doing. Battle for third. McLeod, McNally, Walton, Cedars, and Hansford. This is brewing. And because this race is essentially a full points race, typically race 2 is only half points, this could have big ramifications for how they set the grid as well.
Yeah,
Final race. So
for sure. Look at Nathan Pretty on 120, Donis 120, McLeod 110.
all important positions here, up to grabs.
And this is the sort of info you need as a driver. Need to be aware of what the points are, so you can pick your battles. You know, you're getting in a dust-up with a guy, you're not racing for points, and you're just trying to get to the end of the weekend with enough points in hand to get that first place trophy.
So McLeod just does enough to open up 1 or 2 car lengths.
Yeah, nice little break there now.
It's the West Aussie, McNally, lives in Wembley in Perth, that has the pressure. And pressure it is, because the Renko ute is filling his mirrors. Second pack back. It's Fisher in 8th, Jane, Harris, Marjoram, Gray, Wilson and Armand in the distance. It's the pack that contains our champion-to-be.
Wilson's looking pretty speedy for a ute that was hanging out of the wall pretty badly. Guys have done a good job tidying that up.
I think he's had some big hits.
Yeah.
Cleaned up turn 8 with Jared McLeod early this year.
He's looking tidy too. He was early on in practice, he looked a bit ragged and getting on the gas a bit hard, but he seems to have smoothed himself out. Now pulling some nice lap times.
Check out a Yokohama replay. Lee Nicolau. Oh, that's not what you want right in front of you.
Yeah, just straightened him up nicely and kept on going.
And that was Bruce Oakland. So haven't seen too much of Brucey, but lovingly known as the Fat Stick. We're out in his neck of the woods in Western Sydney, but he got away with that one. Could have been much worse. So 2/3 of the way through this race, and it's pretty much all steady towards the front. Nathan Pretty looking good. Pretty out front from Dontas McLeod in this battle. But the important news is Raul Harris, he's only 10th in the race, but should be good enough here to wrap up the championship with 1 to go tomorrow. It's been a big year for the Utes. Started in Adelaide, taken in Perth and Darwin, up in Queensland for a couple of events. Of course, Sandown and Bathurst, all the way through the Pertec Endurance Cup. And once again, the season wraps up where it has done for the last few seasons, on the streets of Sydney. It's a venue where Harris has been crowned the champ before, and he's only a couple laps away, really, from being crowned champion once again. Here he is. Proud boy from the Gold Coast, has raced in the Dunlop Series before. Very good in go-karts, but really, Paul, has made a name for himself in this category.
Yeah, he's a specialist at this, and 3 championships just proves how good he is, but one of those guys that's just never had the break to make the next step, but could certainly go all the way given the opportunity for sure.
Crowning moment will come tomorrow, but realistically the points gap is such now that he's looking pretty good. Man, Walton is pouring on the pressure here. Shane Sines' entry under attack.
Yeah, Manelli was a bit wide there, that made him become a bit loose. There he goes, up the inside, got it done.
McNally needs to be careful offline.
Yeah, McNally's onto it. He knows he's got to give away.
Did well, actually, to get away with that one.
Two utes through there. 2 will go in, but 2 won't come out. 1 will be in the tyres for sure.
Down the roller coaster we ride. So Walton driving through the field here. I'll tell you what, he's really just 1 or 2 spots away from getting himself a front row start for tomorrow. He's looming, isn't he? Looking very quick.
He's the only one doing anything, and it looks like everyone's just driving around, but I guarantee you, all of these guys are pressing 100%. But everyone's so good. Everyone's so good in this championship. They're all doing similar lap times. It's just hard to pass.
Two to go for Nathan Pretty, yet to claim a race win this season, but looking good out in front. So many years of experience coming to the fore here for Nathan. Knows how to lead a race, knows how to bring it home. It'll be his first win since Bathurst last year, a track which he dearly loves.
It's a nice gap too. He's sort of held it at about 1.5 seconds the last 5 laps. I think he's got speed, and he's just looking after the brakes, looking after the tyres. Making sure he's got something left in reserve to take the fight to these guys later on in the weekend.
It's Elliot Barber that won this race last year, the reverse grid race. Pretty, he got the job done in a couple of reverse grid races last year. Bathurst and Townsville, very good at getting the free kick through the reverse grid system, but you still need to convert it. You still need to keep your nerve. Hansen dropping off the back of that front pack.
Yeah, he had good pace this morning, with track temperatures a lot higher than this morning.
Oh, a few guys running deep. That was close. Fisher and Jane right on the limits. Jane was complaining about brake issues in this car earlier in the week. It's 350th race. 350.
It's a lot of ute racing, isn't it?
I mean, we only get 21, 24 a year.
Yep.
and there's only ever been 352. So when you think of it that way, he's been there through just about everything. Former Thunderdome star, the nephew of Bob Jane. Bob Jane teammates represented strongly with this car. Final lap, and Nathan Pretty doing it comfortably. 1.8 seconds at the point.
So McLeod now under a bit of a threat from Walton, who's been the guy making all the moves at this second race here at Sydney Olympic Park. I reckon he's got a bit left for him. I reckon he's going to have a go.
I was going to say, it's been a very well-behaved reverse grid race. Compare this to what we saw at Surfers Paradise. Oh, a nice big flame out the back of the exhaust. And McLeod. Jared's feeling the pressure.
He is, but he gets it round the corner.
Walton's lurking. The bottom of Dawn Fraser Ave. That'll be the spot.
He's going to have a go for sure. Stick with this battle and see what happens.
We know Walton's really good through here. Just uses the curbs.
Yeah, a lot of curbs. See how much more corner speed he carries?
Gets a good exit.
Yeah, when he lands, he's just straight back on the loud pedal. You can see him. He's... Oh, yeah. Pressure's on.
It's on here. Walton needs to get a good exit, and he'll have a chance.
McLeod will come across and try and shut him down.
McLeod's moving in the background. The fight for third is on. It's Pretty and Dontis.
Look for Walton to tip it up the inside. McLeod covers him off again.
They're going to end up in a train station if they're not careful.
There'll be no room out there. Looking for the switchback. McLeod will just white line the thing here. Stick it on the fence and give him nowhere to go. Straight across here now. He'll cover him off.
And Cedars will skip past his teammate potentially. So McNally limping home at the end of this race. But it's Nathan Pretty with a bit of fancy stuff.
Yeah, he's having a bit of an expression session. He's got that much of a lead.
It's the first win for Burbank Homes as a sponsor as well. Nathan Pretty's first of the year. He's first since Bathurst in 2014, ahead of Craig Dontis. A great drive for second. He's been just on fire all year long. But this is the man. No one's won this category 3 times. Well, guess what they have now? With a big slide out of the last corner, Royal Harris has done enough to wrap up the championship with a race to go. Heartbreak for George Miedeke, a DNF when it mattered, but there it is. Well, Harris does enough.
He was that busy doing a burnout that I think Kim Jane passed him.
He did too. That's awesome. That's how you celebrate.
Kim must have been, what's going on here? But Ryle's fishtailing out of the last corner and dropped a couple of points, so he must have been running the numbers inside the cockpit there and knew exactly what he had.
The celebrations have started early. Royal Harris just sneaks into the top 10, but does enough to get the job done. Nathan Pretty, congratulations on taking his first win for the year. Chris Walton was the star of the show, driving his way up to 4th. Over the page, Adam Mardram not moving forward this weekend. He'll be frustrated with what could be his last appearance in the Utes. Lee Nicolau did enough to climb up to 20th. Steve Hodges, also good drive, Adam Beachy. That might be enough to get him the DBA Heartbreaker Award. And unfortunately, Kani Buzadzic never made it out. And the heartbreaking story there, George Miedeke back down in 22nd. Oh, that was good stuff. Congratulations to Royal Harris. We'll see the boys back out for their final race of the weekend. That'll be happening tomorrow. It's time to check in with Greg Murphy, our Woodstock feature interview with Tim Slade.
Well, thanks to Woodstock, Burton. We're here catching up quickly with Timmy Slade. Mate, the end of the year is already here. We're at the Sydney 500.